this whole trend, I kind of feel like when it comes to gender identity, at least as Canadians, and we're in the all across the States and into Europe, but the show, as Canadians, it's almost like we don't know what to say. We're being drawn along and we're just nodding our head and saying, well, as long as I respect you and love you, it's all okay.
Yeah.
Is that a good response to gender identity?
Well, I think it's not. And I think the reason why I say that is it's partially right. I mean, I respect you and love you is great, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you therefore have to affirm someone's identity choice if it goes against reality as we see it. And that's the whole idea of reality collapse. One of the things I talk about in the book is how gender identity ideology, which is what I call in the book bioclasm, and it's a combination of two words. Iconoclasm, which is classically known as you take the icons of tradition, the icons of reality, and an iconoclast is someone who smashes them and changes the paradigm. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. Well, with the gender identity ideology, we're taking the icons of what it means to be human, male and female, and we're smashing it. We're taking the biological icons and we're smashing it. So we're not iconoclasts, we're bioclasts. And what that ends up doing is creating an authority structure. When you look at people who are, identify as transgender, and let's say they have genuine gender dysphoria or any host of other sort of psychological things that are going on in their lives, we are to care for them. We are called as Christians to act with compassion and care for people, regardless of what they're struggling with, especially if it's deep like this. And gender dysphoria is a real thing. However, we look at it two different ways. The culture does. Way number one is to say, okay, I care about you. You're experiencing a tremendous sense of dysphoria between your mental impression of what you are and the physical reality of what you are. And so one group says, well, let's change the body and fix it, make it congruent. Yeah. Another group, which I would favor and say is more right-headed and right-hearted, is saying, no, the body is the body, and there's a whole host of terrible things that happen when you try to change the body, either chemically or surgically.
So many.
Rather, let's fix the mind in every other aspect, whether it's body dysmorphia, where people want to have a limb cut off or something like that because they feel like their left arm shouldn't be there, or anorexia or whatever it is. We don't change the body. We don't affirm someone's view of their body. We try to change their mind to conform to reality. That's more compassionate and more caring. So we can say, I love you and I respect you enough to try to get you to see that your mind is divergent from reality and you need to communicate into conformity with reality. Otherwise, we're just suborning a delusion that won't get anybody anywhere. And the statistics show, and I point this out in the book, that when you veer away from reality, reality has a way of bumping back. And pain, as someone once famously said, is what reality feels like when it bumps into you. And so what I don't want these people to do is go through life thinking that a change of the body or a change in forcing someone else's form around that is going to help anybody, because it doesn't. The studies show repeatedly that people who experience gender identity dysphoria, even after various transitions and even after various affirmations, they still feel terrible and they still feel various suicidalities and all these other things. So we're not helping anybody. Reality has a way of helping people if we conform their minds to reality.